Hello, welcome back. My name is Grandmaster Daniel Gormani. Welcome back to my channel. I haven't posted for a while. Unfortunately, the internet in Hastings is not very good. And this is a common theme I've noticed in hotels. When you go away to be in bed and breakfast, the internet is not very good. It came and went, and eventually I had a problem with a laptop. Because I didn't understand why I couldn't get online. I think the internet was just down. So I forgot the password, and then because I got a problem with the laptop, the O wasn't working, or isn't working. I wasn't able to type in the name of the password. Type in the password. So I couldn't get online for like the end of the tournament. And that kind of affected my preparation for the last few rounds. I couldn't get onto my laptop. But I could get onto my tablet, onto my phone. It slightly affected my preparation. I wouldn't give that as an excuse. I've got other excuses that I want to use, so I don't need to use that one. I've got much better excuses. But in general, I had a terrible tournament at Hastings. Yeah, and actually going back to that thing about the internet, what I never understand with these hotels is why they don't use boosters. They've got hundreds and thousands of pounds going through their bank accounts every month. People paying them month. Certainly wouldn't stay in that hotel again because of the rubbish internet. I won't name the name. Other than that, it was a good hotel. Decent-ish hotel. It was fine. But just getting fed up with all these. I don't know if other people have had this problem with bad internet. But yeah, just having lots of problems with bad internet. And whether that's a problem in Hastings, I don't know. But it seems to happen in a lot of different places anyway, but why don't they invest these like thousands of pounds that are coming into their bank accounts every month? I mean, how much does a booster cost? You put a booster in every floor that's going to make the internet okay, but you don't really care. Anyway, we're going to have a look at this game. I played in the final round against Freddie Gordon, who's a really promising player actually, from Scotland. I believe he's related. He's like the grandson of a famous mathematician. Or semi-famous mathematician. So there's clearly mathematical ability that runs in the family. And there's quite a lot of very promising juniors now, and Freddie's one of them. So some of you might be familiar with Bod Hanna, who is very, very talented. You also got Sheris Royal, who was up there in the main tournament. He's about 14 or 15. Very, very promising player. Potentially he could be up there with people like Mickey Adams and David Howe in future, so that's good. I was saying actually in the commentary, it's about time, somebody got into that pack, because we've just really had the same players on top for many, many years. It's become a bit boring, to be honest. And you also have played Super Kid in Blitz tournament, Super Tit. Banjari, and I lost to him like a 9 or 10-year-old. He's very, very good. I think he also did well in a recent title Tuesday. And I lost to Freddie Gordon in the final round of that tournament as well. So Freddie's become a bit of a bogey player for me, although I haven't played him very often. Yeah, I seem to either play him in the final round or the first round. So I played him in the first round of British Blitz last year and lost. So currently on 0 out of 3 against Freddie. So things can only get better or worse. Actually, he's only going to get stronger as he gets older. He's already a very, very talented player. You can tell that when you do the commentary room, when he was sitting in the commentary room, he's coming up with all these tactics. Potentially a super GM in the future, I would guess. Although, obviously, it all depends on them. All these players are mentioned, it all depends on how much they carry on playing chess, how much they want it. As I said, it's encouraging from Freddie's point of view that he goes to the commentary room after the games. So it shows that he doesn't just play his game and lose interest in chess. He's constantly interested in chess. Anyway, let's look at the game of Snuff Babbling. I think the opening went fairly well too. I'm just going to get to probably the critical middle game position. And this is all my preparation, more or less. I did actually prepare for this game, but yeah, I wasn't expecting him to go e4 straight away. When he played Bod Hanna, I think he went h3 in that game. And the main line, I think, is a3. Now black normally goes a5, but he went e4. So we get this Slav, which is very, very sharp. And now he went rook d1. So I've not actually analysed this game with a computer. I have no idea what the improvements are. I only know that I obviously made mistakes at certain moments. Otherwise I probably wouldn't have lost. But what should I play here? I mean, I considered moves like rook e8, for example. I could play rook e8. Queen e7 was a move. Yeah, Queen e7. Why didn't I like Queen e7? I think that was probably a better move, actually. Maybe more patient. I think I was concerned about knight e2 at some moment. Whether he would have played it, probably a4 is also a move, right? And then you induce b4, and then you bring the knight back. Now the knight's coming around to g3, which would threaten knight f5 with tempo, and if I go g6, I've created weaknesses on the dark squares. Something like that. Karpovian. I mean, Karpov used to play these kind of setups as white. But I'm not, to be honest, I think this is part of the problem in this game, is that Freddy mentioned afterwards he's a little bit surprised that I played a semi-Slav. Because, yeah, it's true that I don't have a lot of experience in these kind of positions. But this is a problem against d4. I don't really have an established setup. You know, occasionally play Nimza, occasionally play the Grunfeld. I'm kind of like a potpourri of different defences without any consistent one. Yeah, rook e8 was possibly a good move here. I played Queen c7, which wasn't terrible. Not a terrible move, but only stretched the imagination. I don't think. But now he played h3. Fairly quickly, I think. So maybe this is still part of his preparation. Yeah, and this is where I went a6. And Freddy went a4. Which, yeah, reasonable. Because what he wants to do is he doesn't want allow me to take and go c5 without like b5 hanging. Or there's some he wants to soften up b5 essentially by playing a4. But maybe I could have played rook e8 here, and that was just, you know, I think in this tournament I was a little bit on edge. I was very angry and annoyed. And you know, how does a game go after rook e8? I mean, I don't know, you know, like, I don't know. It's a long game. Yeah, we could analyse this for like hours, but I'll just show you like eventually what happened. So I went for this, which I wasn't happy with at all, actually. Somehow I felt all wrong. I mean, maybe I could go c4 immediately. That was also a possibility. But no, but then he takes on c4, wins a pawn, right? So that's not very good. So this is my idea. Bishop check and c4. But I made a miscalculation here because originally I thought I had knight c5. And then force him to, you know, waste a move defending e4. But the problem is he just goes, then on the board I realised he could just go g3. It was like crazy miscalculation, right? Just an obvious move, trap the bishop. And I thought, surely that move can't work because I take on e4. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, actually, this I don't see a good move here. You know, there's no, I'm a piece down, and there doesn't seem to be any clear method. And the problem is, like, Freddy is playing all these moves very quickly, so it's like putting you under pressure on the clock. Putting me under pressure on the clock. So not easy to navigate. And so I went here, which I wasn't happy with. And he took, which is absolutely correct. I think here I actually missed a trick. I think maybe he could have taken immediately, because I was thinking later on that some variation like this I think is just very good for white, because like, how are you going to continue if you take? Probably take with the queen. Although I can take on e4, it's true. I can't take with a knight because of queen g7, mate. I was thinking variations like this might be possible, but I don't know, maybe it's not as clear as I thought. Like king takes, and it feels like there's rook d7 here. It starts getting very messy. Maybe bishop g2 is a move, yeah. As king takes this check. Feels like black is hanging on. I mean, you can simply go king h2 maybe, but then queen f2 might be possible. Yeah, it's all very, very complicated. Then bishop e3. You know, something weird like that. But also white could do other stuff as well. Probably also could play knight into d6 or knight d4 as an option. But yeah, there was just one trick, which was something like this. Hit the queen. Now if I take here, you take here, I think. When I take here, you take here. And now I can't take about the knight or the pawn because the queen is hanging. So I have to take the queen and then d7 is hanging. So I calculated this variation. I thought this was weird for white. But he took on a8 first, which is also not bad, but maybe not the best. And now I've got this bishop e4 move, and possibly I should have held this position, but it's obviously I'm pawn down, right? Now I've got a problem with the queen. I consider moves like queen c5. I wasn't really convinced. I'm a pawn down. He's just got a solid extra pawn. So all this has led to is just an extra pawn for white. So yeah, clearly I've already gone wrong. I think the whole concept of going c5, c4, allowing the knight into f5 was all wrong. But this is probably quite possibly holdable for black. I consider this move. But then he goes, I think he just goes bishop b3. And if I go here now, he can now take on f7. And the rook d8 will run in, sorry, rook e7 will run into rook d8. So I went rook e8, and he went knight d5, and I traded everything off. I went knight f6, he came back. I went h6, and I was reasonably happy here. I thought, you know, I got good chances to hold this. Obviously, it was a game that I needed to win, but even if I won, I wouldn't have won a prize actually, because 6 wasn't enough to win a prize. It's quite depressing. You get 6 out of 9. There were 10 prizes, but there were 11 players on 6.5 or more. So you needed 6.5. You needed +4. In the end, I only got +1. I got 5 out of 9, which is a really terrible result. 1.5 out of. Sorry, I got a 2100 performance, 2198 performance. But, you know, again, that looks terrible on paper. You're a GM, you get a 2100 performance. But as we've discussed already on this channel, the whole rating system is a little bit messed up at the moment. We're playing lots of underrated juniors, lots of underrated people in general. All the people I lost to play good games. What can you do? I was rusty. I think I was very rusty in this tournament. I don't think I was rusty by the end, but earlier in the event, I was rusty, and obviously that has a knock-on effect. If you're having bad results early in the tournament, it's very difficult to recover. You lose a bit of confidence. But in this game, I did get outplayed, there's no question about that. Like h6, I felt like I was playing against a proper player. You know, already, I mean, he's got a decent rating for a junior as well. He's 23-38. It's not like he's got like 2000. So you're playing a proper player. Obviously going to be probably 2600 plus in the future, I would say. Might not be that, might not have to wait that long either. So this position after h6, yeah, Freddy played knight a7, good move I think, because he wants to go to c6. I really understood his plan. Now my original instinct was go here, but I thought he'd go b4, and that was a good move. Again, you know, if you see any improvements, let me know down below. But yeah, I haven't done a thorough analysis of this game. I'm just going on my thoughts during the game. I thought you go b4, and if I go here, then he goes b5. If I go here, I think he can go rook d8 maybe. There's also, yeah, rook d8, knight c6, this is a problem. And the bishop gets trapped. So it's all very confusing, but I think it just ends up being good for white. Probably. So I went, after b4, I tried bishop d4. So after knight a7, I went bishop d4, he took. And probably, maybe I should hold this, you know, but I obviously a very unpleasant position to try and play because you're just simply a pawn down. having a bad tournament. You know, it's depressing to play and defend it, try and defend this. I went here, which is probably okay, but now maybe I started allowing his king to run up the board. Probably should just play rook b2 here and just play a bit more patiently. And then just go g5. Very unpleasant position to play for black, I would say, but it might be holding. I don't know. But I kind of underestimated certain factors, and I saw that he could run his king up the board, which is obviously very dangerous for black, but I felt like there was a certain amount of counterplay in the position. I saw this idea going rook c2, so he went b5. I went rook c2. Again, maybe there were other moves, probably were better moves than that, but yeah, I think he originally was planning to go here, but maybe he was concerned about knight e8 check. He went b6, which is fine. I went rook b2. Possibly I should just take the pawn immediately, right? But I kind of get the feeling by this point he's kind of lost, because, for example, just king d6 and even let g2 go and go king, and then start pushing the b pawn like he did in the game, and then bring the king to c7, feels winning. You know, because I can give it a rook for the pawn, for example, but then my knight and 3 against his rook, and knight and 1 will not hold. He should be able to get his king back in time to stop my counterplay, so I suspect that must be lost. This is what I was thinking. So I'll try this move. There's just one moment here that I originally intended to go here, which leads to quite an interesting variation. I think he's probably losing, but okay. He can, no, knight d6 is wrong because of check. But he can go b7, which is obviously the most natural move, right? But then I go here. I think this is what I was calculating. Forcing him to go knight d6. Now, his king's like his shorter squares. And I was, yeah, but I could have tried this. I could go knight d7, but then he goes king d5, right? Maybe just good game by Freddy. I mean, it felt like a fairly accurate game by him, you know. It felt like I was playing against, you know, Einstein or like Oppenheimer or some kind of mathematical genius, Newton, you know. Very hard to play against computers. That's why I felt like I was playing against a human computer, because, you know, mathematical genius runs in the family, right? So knight d7, king d5, and he's very good at calculations, so this kind of position really in his wheelhouse is just pure calculations kind of position. But yeah, so my main line was rook e2. Now, I think he has to go knight e4 because he can't go king f5 because of just check. So he goes knight e4. And then I've got knight e4. So I calculate this variation. Knight e4. He can't take with a rook, or he can, but then I go rook here and it's a draw. Because he can't defend the b pawn. So he has to queen. And I thought, oh, maybe I could draw this in some sneaky way, but in the game I couldn't see a way that I can draw this. So probably there isn't a way. For example, knight c3, intending king d6, knight b5, king c5, knight d4, king d4, rook f2 would possibly, it might be a draw that position because of the blockade. Although even then you're obviously suffering. After knight c3, I think you can just go king f5 and he escapes that way. So I don't see, this doesn't seem to be like a sneaky way that I can draw this. You know, knight f6, he goes king d6. And his king will run away and he'll win the game. So I was trying to make variations like this work, partly out of desperation, right? But they don't seem to work. So I realised in the end, oh, hang on a minute, yeah, I've got to just grab a pawn and hope for the best. But now he runs in, king d6, rook g2, b7. So eventually we get this variation where king c6, yeah. So now he's threatening knight b6. And then the pawn will come down and queen. So I've got to keep checking. I felt like I had to keep checking. I mean, the problem is I can't really do anything with this knight, right? So we get this variation, but the problem is that I'm just like 1 or 2 tempos short. He's just threatening to... yeah, I probably should have tried H5 here, or F5 or something. And also I rushed this moment. Like, you know, I had started loads of time. I should have carried... I played King F6 fairly quickly. Maybe I think I was tired as well. Like, when you're tired, you often play too quickly. And... I felt really tired during the game. I should have had like an energy drink. I was making sure I was having like dates. I had these dates that I was eating during the game to kind of keep my energy levels up. But maybe I should have had like a Red Bull or something, like a coffee, because I felt really, really tired at the end of the game. And that's another thing where junior players have an advantage, because they're not going to get as tired as like older players like myself. So what's the threat? So the threat is, for example... yeah, like say for example, if I went F5, he could go. Maybe this is a draw. I don't know, but I don't think so. But not the way I played. Oh yeah, one idea is to slowly bring the knight around to C6. But say I went like here, like yeah. Why didn't I should have at least tried that, right? I mean, he could go here, and then when I go here, he goes like here. Or let's take first, right? So he takes, go here, 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 here. But then I go here as a draw. Yeah, why didn't I at least try this? So maybe this position is a draw, you know, but I kind of rushed it because I saw this idea of going King F6, King E6, and I thought, oh, you know, prove my king, how can I possibly lose, right? So I don't even need to bother pushing these pawns. I should have tried H5 or F5. I think that was the last try. But, yeah, it's a very tricky position. Maybe he has other ways he can try and win. Let's say I went H5. There was a lot about this position I didn't really get, and... it might be a draw, or some kind of weird draw, right? I'm trying to think like how he can win this, because like here, 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 here. Like, how does he win? Because he's not in time, right? Here. I mean, it's really pathetic not to calculate this. So just go here, and then here, and it's a draw. Because like he comes back a queen, moves a king. I can always get out the queen for the pawn and then make a draw with the F pawn. Well, I mean, he's got no material left, right? I mean, I don't think I can win that position, but... yeah, so probably it's a draw right at the end. But due to fatigue or nerves or whatever, I just played too quickly at this moment. I had loads of time left. I mean, it's really unforgivable that I went King F6 so quickly. Because I missed his idea in the game, which was to run the king to C8. It's quite a tricky win, and I realise that, you know, it's like a little bit of a tricky win. Is there any other way you can try and win this? Like, hang on. So I'll move the... so maybe this is a draw, right? Yeah, it's a draw. Just H5. It's really, really poor. But instead I went King F6, which is like a shocking move. And then I suddenly realised, oh, hang on, he's threatening... This is what I realised in the game, that my slow plan was no good, because now he's threatening Knight A8, Knight C7 check. And there's not anything you could do about it. Right, and actually the king's actually bad on E6 because it's actually helping his plan. And if I go H5, he goes Knight A8, King D6, for example. Let's say I went here, Knight C7, and yeah, it's just game over. It's just very simple win. So this is what I missed earlier when I played King F6, was that he could run his king to C8 and then But yeah, it was really stupid because I had loads of time left, and you know, there's no excuse. I had like over an hour at this point on the clock, and just to run King F6 so quickly. Maybe F5 was F5 also. I'm feeling that was F5 was also good enough, right? Same sort of idea that you're just going to quickly run the pawn. He doesn't have enough time. It would have been a very simple draw. And I was probably losing earlier, I think. Yeah, this felt lost, right? Probably you should just run the kings somewhere. Even to b8 would have been better. I don't think you should have swapped rooks. Like, let's say you went like here, check, and then king a7. And then probably this is like weird kind of win, right? Yeah, this is what I was actually expecting. When he exchanged rooks and allowed 97, I was kind of a bit surprised. But yeah, that was really careless, and I was very annoyed with myself to actually allow that win, because I felt like I defended reasonably well in that endgame. Not great, but having given Freddy gave me a chance with this rook trade, and not to take it, and then to very quickly play King F6 is really, really stupid. And that was exactly what I was trying to avoid doing, which was playing too quickly. And I still did it anyway. So anyway, so that was a bad tournament. You move on. I know I'm better than that. I know I'm better than 24-20, which I'll slump down to. It's just a question of proving it, right? I just need to play more. But it's tough